I'm Kerrod for Australian Golf Digest, and if you're getting frustrated with your performance, you feel like you're doing all this work on your practice, but you're not getting the results that you would like, well, this right here, this is the video for you. Let's get stuck in. Now, very often down the range, I will see many a golfer making some detrimental mistakes with the quality of their practice. So what does that mean? Well, very often I'll see players get a very large bucket like this. They'll tip that thing down right next to where they're hitting the golf balls. They'll step up to it without any sort of system or routine, and they'll start swinging wildly. They'll hit one, they'll grab another before the ball has actually landed. They'll place it in a different spot, and then they just effectively end up raking and pulling time and time again without any structure or intention behind their practice. The professional, well, they do something very different. In the time that most amateur golfers would take to hit that large bucket of balls there, a professional golfer might make his way through half of this. So next time you're out there practicing, what I want you to do is grab yourself a small bucket rather than a big bucket. That's tip number one. Tip number two is I want you to set up some sort of practice station. Right here, I've got a reference down on the ground relative to my ball position. This is going to ensure that when I'm setting up, for example, I've got a 7-iron here, I'm able to ensure that I've got the ball set correctly within my stance. You can use a ball position reference, you could do an alignment reference, whatever you like. The purpose of practicing on the range is to work on the process, not the outcome. So creating some sort of controlled environment, ensuring that you've got some alignment rods and you're putting the ball in a reasonably consistent position every time, just ensures that you've got some sort of structure when you're working on your golf swing, rather than hitting one ball from over there, the next one out of the divot, which is only just going to get you frustrated because your brain's going to fixate on the result and the outcome rather than the process. And the final tip is all about the time that you take in between the shots. What I like to see players do, instead of laying their balls down, is actually grab their basket and place it back and behind themselves, over in this direction here. So after they've actually gone through the process and they've hit their shot, they're gonna wait until the ball lands, and they're actually gonna walk back, physically grab another ball out of the bucket, walk in, place their ball down on the ground so they ensure they're not just putting it into a hole or something like that, and then go through their pre-shot routine. So for example, let's say I'm working on my ball position here. As I set up to it, I'm gonna measure the distance between the inside of my front heel and this stick. That ensures that I've got a good ball position for the club I'm using, which is an 8-iron. And then I'm gonna have a practice swing, generating a feel of what that would be like to make a motion from that ball position, and then simply just step in and pull the trigger again. Now, the good thing about going through this process is that every single time you make a swing, there is some intention around the element that you're trying to work on, which in my case here is my ball position. Once I've done that, I've hit the shot, I've seen the result, I reflect on it, go, okay, how did I feel like I went? Give myself a rating. Well, I felt like maybe I was a bit rushed there. Next time when I go through this process, I'm going to walk over, grab that ball, place it down in a similar spot, and take a little bit more time in between those reps. So if you feel like you're not getting the most out of your practice, there's a good chance that you're focusing way too much on the outcome and not enough of being intentional through the process. So next time you're reaching for a large bucket of balls, grab a small one. Let's set down some sticks and some references for what you're trying to work on to achieve when you're on the range. Finally, take a little bit of time in between those shots, and it could make the world of difference to your golf game.